We're all set to go for qualifying for the 14th round of the Formula 2 Championship. The session about to get underway here at Yas Island. Welcome to qualifying for round 14 of the FIA Formula 2 Championship in 2024. The sun is just beginning to dip below the horizons as we are all set to go. It's into the twilight stage then here at 3 o'clock. And it's around this wonderful circuit, modified now. It's a 23-lap sprint race, 33-lap feature race, and a World Championship to be decided. 0.5 of a point between Gabriele Bortoleto and Isaac Hadjar. 25 points back, Paul Aron as well. This is going to be a very interesting weekend and a very interesting race. Good afternoon to everybody watching. Good morning if you're still in the UK. It's 11 AM over there. It's just coming up on 4 PM here, so 3 PM here in Abu Dhabi. And the conditions are superb. Track temperature at 39.3 degrees, air temperature 27.8, wind speed 3.1, 59% humidity, so not too bad. Dry track out there as well. And the green light is on, and the 30-minute qualifying session is underway as the clock resets itself correctly. Dino Beganovic, Jack Crawford, Leonardo Folorelli, Rito Mayata, all heading out there. What a busy couple of sessions, though, it's been for the likes of Luke Browning, who just went out there in the previous Formula 1 session, and Isaac Hadjar, who went out and did some laps in Formula 1's opening practice. They've had literally no stopping them over the past 3.5 hours. They've had F2 practice, followed then by Formula 1 first practice, and now their time for qualifying. Well, let's check in with Alex Jakes and Alex Brundle as the installation laps begin.
Our leader and Isaac Hadjar, who finds himself with the chance to steal the title away. Half a point between the top two, an outsider in the mix as well. 2 points available for pole to win one of the most prestigious titles in all of motor racing. We're going to take our top 10 from this result. We're going to reverse it. That will set our grid for the sprint race. You qualify 11th downwards. That's where you start for both races. They line up how they qualify for the 25-point paying feature race. And it means that this is a high-pressure moment for all of our championship contenders. Dino Beganovic hopes that that's the case for him this time next year. The man who's getting an early start, Alex, to life in Formula 2. A fine 5th place last time out in Qatar on debut in a feature race.
Yeah, found himself in the points in his first ever feature. Showed the pace to deserve it as well, didn't he? The driver who absolutely deserved to take home those points. Did everything right, and he's going to try and do so again. Was relatively strong throughout practice as well. We've got track temp, though, up at 39 degrees. We've got air temp at 27 degrees. We've got the softest tyre available for the full season of Formula 2. So it's going to be a challenge to get it absolutely right. That challenge being undertaken as well this weekend by the reigning Formula 3 champion, Leonardo Folorelli, jumping in at Rodi.
If you're an F2 viewer, if you're an F1 viewer, and you've never seen how he won his Formula 3 title, I'm telling you, treat yourself. It's fantastic, and not only because Brundle's commentating on it, it's fantastic because it's a last gasp of drama as a result. Alex, we're on board with Isaac Hadjar. How on earth do you find yourself recalibrating behind the wheel here? He's just driven Max Verstappen's Red Bull. He's now back with his Campos team with a big task, and he's admitted earlier this weekend that it's going to be tough to be quick straight away.
Well, firstly, he'll be delighted to have a car where he can turn the steering wheel past his legs, because that was the problem in FP1 that Isaac Hadjar was struggling with. Had a little bit of a messy FP1 session with decent pace at the end, it must be said. But you're absolutely right. He said earlier on in this weekend, it's going to be really tough. At the beginning of qualifying for Hadjar, he'll be stronger later.
Let's hear from the man in question. We're on board with Isaac Hadjar, and he spoke to us earlier in the weekend.
It's a really unique experience, and I always need like a run to adapt to it, you know. So like, I can tell you on the first run I won't be P1 because I need that adaptation phase to deliver on the second set. So that's yeah, it's a strange exercise, but I've managed it well in the past, last year and in Silverstone as well. So now I'm confident with that.
Alex, he's not short on confidence. Isaac Hadjar has a glorious intensity to him. He's carried it all the way to the final round, half a point back in the championship. And he's confident that he can crack the code of switching between Formula 1, Formula 2 and back again.
Well, the last time he did so, he was in the UK at Silverstone. He took pole position and he won the feature race at Acanthus.
Not bad, not bad.
It was not too much of a difficult switch over that day. That's to take nothing away from the challenge that it is, and the challenge that it is as well, to take on this field full of immensely talented returning drivers and rookies, some really strong drivers as well, starting their careers in Formula 2. One of those returning drivers is Victor Martins, who split the two championship challenges in free practice a little bit earlier on. Paul Aaron's been monumentally quick as well, not least in...
Oh, and we've lost audio from trackside. And we've lost commentary. Okay, so Former having an issue with that. Yep, so I'll take over. That's what I'm here for. First lap times coming in. Very much build-up laps. Bogdanovic on a 1:56.085. Crawford's on 1:59.161. Forlaroli and Maeto 2:03.546 to a 6.853. Behrman splits them to a 6.566. So not seeing much out there. Luke Browning. Victor Martins now on a 2:12.501. Build-up laps to begin the actual push laps to see what we're going to have in the overall aspect of these, I want to say challenging, but they're more entertaining aspects of the championship we're racing for so far. And it's really is a lot of fun what we're having in Formula 2 this weekend. First sector time for Victor Martins is a 20.1, being beaten by Paul Aron, who's done a 20.0. So sector time's already improving. Keep an eye on them as they come through. Down into turns 6 and 7 at the chicane. Bogdanovic 1:37.497. Crawford 1:37.194. That's more like it. So now we're starting to get the faster qualifying times. Martins in a 1 minute as well in that middle sector. And that's Rita Mayata, second fastest, 1:36.966. So again, times improving, situations improving for everybody out here. A little bit close to the wall. Behrman 1:36.8. Behrman to the top. Antonelli 1:36.777. Martins 1:36.245. Half a second faster than the two Premers. Here comes Paul Aron. Goethe 8th, Browning 9th. Paul Aron second, 1:36.562. 3/10 off the mark, despite being fastest in sectors 1 and 2. Gabriel Bortoletto needs to go ahead here of Paul Aron out of the last corner. Little bit of a control to the rear wheel spin. Cordial goes 7th. Bortoletto goes 2nd. 1:36.479. Mansell goes 15th. Jose Maria Marti goes in 9th. Maney 6th. Here comes Isaac Hadjar. Does he take anything towards the top? Only 14th. 1:37.326. But remember what he said earlier on? He likes to build himself up on the first laps before going for it. But then John Bennett, 16th. On a 1:37.634. So better, controlled, more abrasive lap times are now coming through. And the cool down laps begin in the middle phase of this session. Let's head back to the two Alexes.
Tenths for Aaron are in the middle sector in comparison to Victor Martin. So we've got Crawford, Beganovic, Villagomez noted for driving unnecessarily slowly. We're going to pick it up then in replay.
So Hadjar feeling the need to go, and we get this every single year with Formula 2, backed up, and you can see that race control have noted Crawford, Beganovic, and looking through the field there, Bennett and Villagomez for driving unnecessarily slowly, according to race control.
It's like merging onto the A2, wasn't it? Unbelievable through the final corner, and driving unnecessarily slowly to stopping unnecessarily much, effectively, through the final corner, but they all got through and they've set a lap.
Okay, we go again, and we'll see whether anyone can take a step forward on this second push run. There's been a lap time deleted there for Esterson, who finds himself without a time that counts on the board, and Browning has had his time deleted as well. We're checking in with Oliver Behrman, F1 bound with Haas, and the Ferrari Academy driver would love to do what he did in Qatar a week ago and score another win for this Prima team. You can see the track is ramping up, the tyres are hanging on, he is up on the provisional pole time.
It would be fourth win of the season for Oliver Behrman with a Prima team who've given he and Antonelli, who's F1 bound as well with Mercedes, the car to play with through the end of this season. So Martin's up once more.
Yeah, Martens has that middle sector, as you can see. So look at the run, 19.9 in the first sector time as well. Martens, he's taken it as well. 19.9, they're level. 19.9, Bortoletto. Wow! The top three, all on 19.9s. Behrman is up in that middle sector as well, as I almost run over my own chair. So this is going to get saying Antonelli 0.08 of a second faster. Martins now breaks a tenth. Into the Yaz Hotel section for Oliver Behrman. Controls the rear slide of that Prima through a very fast 14 into 15 and 16. The last two on the circuit. Runs a little wide. No exit curve to drag you off this year. Behrman's way wide over the line, but goes fifth. 1:36.743. Antonelli goes second with a 1:36.434. Victor Martins improves on his top spot. 1:36.191. Great job for him in the IRT. Paul Laurent sideways coming out of turn 14, a little bit out of 16, over the line, goes up into third position. 1:36.451. Verschoor goes 8th. Now down to 9th, Joshua Durskin in 5th. Bortoletto is a man on a mission as he comes out of the last corner, puts pedal to the metal over the line and goes P1 with a 1:36.050. And Miney's been given a black and white flag for driving standards by the stewards. Interesting to call that one then. Hadjar on his second run into the last corner. Maney goes third, 1:36.267. Hadjar to fifth, 1:36.450. Villagomez 18th, 1:37.442. John Bennett 19th, 1:37.538. 4 tenths exactly the gap between Hadjar and Bortoletto. And Paul Laurent 1,000th of a second off of Hadjar's time. Really nothing separating them at all as we complete the second runs of the session.
The tyre staying with him longer, which allowed him to improve. Now they'll have the opportunity to pit, put a new set on, and try to gather up everything they've learned and put it all in that first lap, which is where the optimum grip and traction is.
Bortoletto doing the job on run number 1. Gabriel Bortoletto this weekend trying to join the exclusive club of drivers that have won in Formula 3 and then taken the title back-to-back as a rookie in Formula 2. The likes of George Russell, Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc. It's an exceptional club to be part of. It's only run one. There's a long way to go. But what will give him encouragement, what will give everyone at the Invicta team encouragement, is that Maini is P3. Both cars performing, and Maini and Bortoleto, who started, I know one guy got disqualified, but they started the year at the front of the field in F2 qualifying. They very much look like they're finishing the season in the same way. All of that said, Alex, they've still got to go and do it all again, because the track's going to be getting better and better and better.
Yeah, we've seen it really creeping up, haven't we, throughout the session so far. Maini and Crawford being noted for impeding at the moment.
Bibi, we're gonna get full.
That's what we like to
Man,
hear.
I feel like the media training in the paddock, whether it be Formula 1 or Formula 2, has just been shredded. Have you ever heard a driver currently in 5th predict that he's going to get pole? Incredible confidence from Isaac Hadjar, who's absolutely full of self-belief right now. Dirksen going out of sequence, he's pushing on. How about that radio, though?
He was putting us out of business in the commentary box in FP1. He's putting us out of business again in qualifying. Let's see if he's right. Another man putting in a decent performance. Dirksen, strong performance through this year. Been on the top step already in Formula 2. AIX Racing have given him the car, and it's an interesting plan here because these runs are short and because there is traffic out on the racetrack. Shrewd move, actually, from Dirksen to run a little bit later and try and get himself some nice clear air.
Yeah, he's going out of sequence, so this can sometimes give you an issue, but everyone else has come into the pits, so I can't see it being a problem for him. Is there anything there for him in the middle part of that? Personal best, Sector 1. Bortoleto going on as well. According to my timing page, Bortoletto's just done the fastest middle sector so far. And
I can confirm that to you, Jakesy. 40.6. 20.1, or 20 in the middle sector. You needed a 19. What's that? 19.9. So it could still be there for Gabriel Bortoleto. Not out of the realms of possibility. And he might just take this, but it's a best sector 2 was a 40.6, so he's pitted as well. All cars into the pit lane then, awaiting the second run around.
on just to see what he could do in that middle sector. He's another driver running on confidence. Are we going to get our top two challengers for the title on the front row in this deciding round of the Formula 2 Championship?
It's worth saying that that middle sector is effectively the chicane and a couple of straights, so it is relatively easy to pick up time there just by being down there on the brakes down towards turn 6 if you want to. And so maybe just testing the waters on his in lap, goodness me. And is that Maini trying to come in the pit lane? We've seen him picked up for impeding.
Yeah, so Maini and Crawford will be investigated after the session for impeding. And great to see fans of Paul Aaron in the crowd. Great support for the whole family there. And there is the man currently in 6th position, heading to be a reserve driver at Alpine next year. So the question for Forneroni is, could he carry a great form through to the second run? He went from 7th to 14th, our reigning Formula 3 champion. But he's got another chance now. He's got another opportunity to learn. And now let's see more impeding, this time from Isaac Hadjar's point of view.
Yeah, so we're going to see Crawford come through, and then Maini jumps, tries to get out of the way, but it's just too late, isn't it? You don't get a sight of the driver who's coming through, which is why you need to be where Hadjar was, offline if you're going to be going that slowly, I think. Then, of course, you close the entry to your flying laps. And there are compromises all over the place in trying not to get a penalty and get your lap done.
Gabriel Bortoleto is the driver in your picture. Crucially, if he stays there by the end of this intense qualifying half hour, it gives him a brilliant position in so many ways, but most importantly, it extends his championship lead by 2 points. But this man feels confident he can turn the 4/10 of a second deficit into another pole position. He's looking to do that again in Formula 2, and he's looking to do it for just the second time in his career.
it's a real testament, isn't it, to the mind management of these young drivers, that both of them, I mean, I would have the jitters like no one's business going into a session like this where you've got to try and deliver that one lap and the championship is on the line. Both of them chucking out funny little radio messages in the middle of a championship battle with one qualifying lap that'll define it. It's really impressive mind management that they're that calm behind the wheel.
Okay, after a thrilling first run, it is time to tick into the final part of qualifying. We'll have 2 attempts, and we'll see whether this order on the left-hand side that is currently Bortoleto, Martins, Maini, Antonelli, Hadjar, then Aaron, Marti, Dirksen, Miata and Goethe, the top 10, whether that changes dramatically. The top 10, so Goethe and Miata would be the front row for the sprint race tomorrow. Behrman is outside of that. Vachor was on the podium last time out. He's currently P12. You've got Fornaroli, who will be desperate to start his F2 campaign in the top 10. And then looking further down as well, can Browning, also having just gone to Formula 1 and switching back to Formula 2, find an improvement in the second ART. The slow prep laps are about to begin. A new set of super soft Pirelli tyres. Yes, Formula 2 still has super soft Pirelli tyres on the cars, and we are ready to sort out the order, hopefully without any more impeding. Can you find the last lap at the limit when it counts? And
it's the return of the super soft tyres, a tyre that the teams didn't use last year. It was reverted to the soft, so they're a compound in that direction from where they have been. It'll have effect on qualifying, the tyre preparation. It'll have an effect on the race as well, and they can't go slow enough out of the pit lane to try to get that tyre in the window. Worth highlighting as well, the MP of Goethe in his 7th potential race in a Formula 2 car. The 3rd round he's been behind the wheel of that machine, sitting at the back end of the top 10. Why is that important? Because it is reverse grid pole, so he'll be looking to try to stay there to try and grab another load of points like he was able to in the feature race in Qatar. Very strong 4th place finish for Goethe there.
So lap times beginning then on these out-lap runs. Hello, Iceman. Yes, Polaron is going to be the reserve driver for Alpine next year. That has been confirmed. In fact, he's reserve driver from this weekend onwards. It's not even Esteban Ocon. Ocon's officially been let go, even though he is here in Abu Dhabi. He's already ready with Haas to go. So if there is a problem between Doohan or Gasly, it won't be Ocon hopping in the car. It will be, surprisingly, on the list, going to be Polaron. I don't know what he's saying about super license points. He does have enough super license points. So there's that to go into it. So riding on board with Gabriel Bortoleto then. This first lap time's being completed. 9 minutes to go on the board, and now it's time for our second run. The car is unlikely to return to the pit lane now before the end of the session, which means it's all about building up the tyre temperature. And you can see we've got Andrea Kimi Antonelli just sort of taking his time in the first sector here and not pushing the lap times through. So we're not there quite yet on the board for some fast lap times.
Everything that their talent will allow to try to take home this championship.
Earlier on, Isaac Hadjar beat Gabriel Bortoleto by 0.2 of a second. Heading into the final runs, Gabriel Bortoleto is ahead of Isaac Hadjar by 0.4 of a second. The cars continue to roar past our commentary position as we wait to see the final push laps of the season. Some seasons wanting to end on a high. Some seasons have an outside chance of the title like this man's, and others will be just hoping to get to 2025. Either way, plenty still to be said in this Formula 2 championship. We're on the build lap. We're heading down to turn 6. That great shot. There's Paul Aaron in front of his fan club who are loving their screen time. Really confident man, Paul Aaron. Young driver with a great future ahead. He believes that he's been superb all year long. Had a run where he couldn't find himself in the points, but he's back at the front at the end. Became our 17th winner of the year. Last time out in Qatar at Losail International Circuit. This is Yas Marina, and we are focusing on Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who's got it in the top 4. His lap was good enough originally to join Martins on the front row, and then the Invictors usurped him as well. Hadjar, the driver to watch, currently in 5th.
7 times a podium finisher this year. Very strong sequence of performances from Paul Aaron. Will find himself in a reserve role with Alpine next year. Likened Middle Eastern winter to Estonian summer earlier on in the year. And so he was very much enjoying the holiday vibes. And he's really got nothing to lose at this stage, has he? Push and see what happens to the 2 ahead. And pushing first is Antonelli.
Yep, I know Antonelli going to start on that first sector time for him on those ultra soft tyres. He's 2/10 down on Bortoletto's time, so not good enough there. Having a look at it, it was a 22nd middle sector, 20.0. We only get in Formula 2 to the 0.1 decimal, so we don't get that much of it. But you can see the gap screens ahead of us and all the other sector time information, including weather down there, with no Omi in the comms box for qualifying. It is a Friday of what is now traditionally a European time zone, so that's sadly how it all works around. Antonelli, DRS open, down into the brake zone, hard down. Now he's 0.4 already off on Bortoletto. So, and now Martins is, oh, actually, Martins only 900 up. Bogdanovic is faster than Bortoletto by 81 thousandths of a second. That's 800ths of a second. Through there, the last 2 corners. Is Antonelli going to immediately go for a push lap the next lap? I think he would do on those ultra softs. It doesn't look like they're going to be ready to go just yet. Out of the last corner, 40, 35, 36. Antonelli stays 4th, but did set the fastest 3rd sector for sure. Noted for failing to follow the race director's instructions. Victor Martins to the top, 135, 745. Bogdanovic 2nd fastest, 136, 906. Here comes Isaac Hadjar though, over the line, and he goes 2nd fastest. 135, 873 for Hadjar. Here comes Paul Aaron, 4th fastest, 135, 916, with 5 to go. Bortoletto's up in the middle sector by 0.2 of a second. Marty's gone 7th. Villa Gomez goes 17th. For sure goes 10th. 136, 455. Bortoletto. And Browning loses a lap time. Goethe goes into 10th ahead of his teammate for sure. And we get 12th place for Emile Cordial. Bortoletto needs to cross that line quickly. We've got a yellow flag out on the track somewhere. Not sure where it is. I might need a red flag. It's in sector 1. Bortoletto comes across the line and doesn't get the time. Bortoletto goes 2nd by 35 thousandths of a second. Joshua Dunscan across the line goes 8th. And the red flag comes out with 4:19 to go to stop the session, as one of the VARs of Raffaello Villagomez is off the circuit. Doesn't look like he's hit the barrier. He's trying to get something going again. But red flag, 4:19 to go. And that may sound like bad news, but it's perfect for everybody, because they get to come back into the pit lane, they get to refuel a little bit, and if they need to change tyres, they'll get another run on it, an out lap and a push lap. Well, red flag came at the right time now. Very rare that happens. Victor Martins currently taking the crucial 2 points for pole position. Bortoletto needs them. Right now, they're going to go in level. If Antonelli gets 5th over Jack Crawford, then that means the top 5 in the F2 this year, and F2 leave F2. Bortoletto, allegedly Hadjar. Antonelli gets F1 seats. Aron gets reserve role, and Maloney's already in Formula E. Very true, Iceman. And I think Hadjar will be in the RB alongside either Lawson or Sonoda next year, because one of those two are getting promoted to replace Sergio Perez. Red flag's out then. Let's send it back to Alex's.
The red flag stops the clock. You've got 4 minutes 19 to go.
My fault! It's not good enough, my true.
Plenty to fight for still. 4 minutes 19 on the clock. They could get out and get round, couldn't they? If they wanted to put another lap in, and they have the tyres to do so.
They do. It's an interesting amount of time still left on the board, considering where we are.
So we will lose no further time, obviously. In free practice, the clock continues to tick down under the red flag. Qualifying, the clock is stopped. We have seen incidents where Formula 2 sits in its hard time limitations. Formula 1 obviously taking precedence over the schedule. But at the moment, the clock remains with 4 minutes 19 to go. How will the tyre react, though, to a heat cycle? That's the question, because almost everybody, or I believe everybody apart from Mansell and Shields I saw making it through the middle of Sector 2, delivered a full lap on the tyre and put all of that heat, temperature and slip through it.
That was risky. Now we took a big risk here. The same, if they've spread before, I would have not finished the lap.
Bortoleto knows, Alex, how close that was to being in a big dollop of trouble. Either way, he delivered, but he's aware of how close he came there to being on the back foot.
It's one of 100 moments throughout the year. Obviously, when the end of the championship is in sight over the horizon, these moments are heightened. But that's the nature of how these sessions, how these races play out for the drivers. Track is clear now. Villa Gomez car has been cleared away, so looking for a resumption of the session. Moment factors play such a huge role. They're so pivotal in series like this and can cost just a vast amount of points when one qualifying session can dictate drivers being out of the top 10 for the whole weekend's racing. And that's why these sessions are so important to get absolutely right.
The session will resume in a couple of moments' time. So that was up for debate. That debate has ended. We are going to get a final run in Formula 2 qualifying in 2024. Oliver Goethe, I always think one of the worst places to be in these sessions. You've done well, considering the talent in the field. You put it in 11th, and that's where you'll start in both races. Just a couple of hundredths up the road, Kimi Antonelli, if it finished like this, and it won't, reverse grid pole alongside Miney, who didn't find that step forward. We have a minute until we are back out on the track, warming tyres and brakes once again. There's Amory Cordial, who's in 13th place, the Belgian driver, in the mix for a podium earlier in the year in Jeddah, where he had a very competitive time of things. It's been a very competitive season.
So this is going to be Richard Verschoor getting picked up in the orange MP for overtaking in the pit lane. That's against the race director's instructions. Believe specifically noted here because of how complex the pit exit is. And Verschoor will be investigated after the session. I would imagine they will do something about that. Going to be interesting to see what exactly the penalty is.
Everyone waiting for these final laps. The clock paused. That was a replay of earlier, so that was a replay of them coming out of the pit lane a second ago. And now we're taking you back to the live pictures, and it's time for the synchronized pull from the apron to the fast lane. There you go, always satisfying, that image. And we're going to begin the outlaps once again. You feel like there's so many drivers in the field, Alex, who could take the 2 points for pole.
Yeah, if they've got the tyre remaining with them. Get the run absolutely right. Bortoleto doesn't want to take any more risks, does he? Absolutely first out. He's told the team, I'm getting this lap in, guys, before the track goes red. It'll be interesting to see, and I think we'll see relatively quickly whether they've still got the tyre underneath them to deliver the lap. They tend to find a way, don't they, the cream of the crop, to just extract that little bit extra, even though the tyre's seen temperature, then cooled back down again, maybe hardened a bit. They still manage to find something extra. Is the engine running for Hadjar? I don't think it is. I don't know whether he's going to go out again, Alex. Yeah, surely he is.
He's got to be. You cannot sit this one out. And they're just biding their time at Campos.
They want to be out of sequence, don't they, with the rest of the field? But that's the risk that Bortoleto was relating to when he said we took a risk there on his way into the pit lane. Running late puts you at risk of getting caught up in other drivers' accidents.
Yeah, and it's glacial out of the pit lane as well, so they would catch things up. There's a glimpse of car number 5 now belonging to Leo Fornaroli, and he finds himself joining the pack, learning with every lap that he turns around this 5.4 kilometre circuit with the traditional heat haze. As you see, Kimi Antonelli warming tyres in Formula 2 for the last time in a qualifying session, his single season before he joins the Mercedes Formula 1 team. And his out lap time, apart from Villa Gomez, who brought out the red flag earlier on. Track temperature is now at 38 degrees, and the clock ticks down. Any errors, any spins, it's going to ruin the laps, it's going to lock in the order. Bortoleto wants another go because he thinks there's more time on the table.
This is going to be something special. Stand by for action. And I mean that most sincerely, folks. Ready to go for one more time. 2 minutes on the clock. 1:35 lap times. Do or die. Into the last corner. Bortoleto will have to hit it out of it now. Pedal down. And qualifying, one lap only, begins. Now, it's a 1:35 lap time. He crossed the line with 1:38 to go. So, if he needs to back out, he can go for another push lap immediately. So, Bortoleto, we'll see if he'll lift off after this session. What's the first sector time? Martins is at 19.928. It's 87 thousandths of a second down. Still inside that time. Don't discount Paul Aron, says Luke. Absolutely true, says SHT as well. Who do you think will be able to come out on top? Bortoleto or Hadjar? Including Paul Aron. I've got a feeling it's going to be Paul Aron, I reckon. Like we had it in the previous round of the championship. It's not completely done yet. There's more to give in this championship. I believe everybody has now crossed that line. Martins, Bortoleto, Bogdanovic, Dursgood, Maney, Antonelli, Cordial, Behrman, Crawford. Have they? It's hard to tell who has and who hasn't, to be fair. There's a couple of them who haven't. Hadjar, Maeta, Marty, and Goethe. So Hadjar's got to cross it soon. Let's hope he doesn't miss it. Flag's coming out now. Let's see what we're going to have. Checkered flag is out. Gabriel Bortoleto doesn't make it. He misses out on crucial points. Maney goes up into 6th. Bortoleto does have another lap time. Villa Gomez was already out of the session. Hills below in 17th place. Bogdanovic goes 4th. Now, here comes Victor Martins and Andrea Kimi Antonelli. They still got some pace in this run around. Behrman goes 15th. We already had Crawford in 16th. Clan Shields in 22nd. John Bennett 19th. Marty sliding, and Martinez stays on pole. Antonelli looking it through, stays 10th. Isaac Hadjar's down in the first sector. No one's going to get the bonus 2 points then. In terms of the championship protagonists. Browning, 17th. Unless I'm very much mistaken. Hadjar was fastest in the middle sector, but that's gone now. It's going to be very tight to see what this is going to be. Cordial goes 10th. I'm looking at Aron's time. Forlaroni goes 13th. Paul Aron goes 3rd. 1:35.813. 68 thousandths of a second off. All down to Hadjar. Over the line. Doesn't improve. Hadjar stays 4th. Goethe goes 12th. Bortoleto's already 2nd. Victor Martins takes pole position for the final feature race of the year. Bortoleto will start 2nd. Aron 3rd. And Hadjar 4th for the feature race, but that puts them 7, 8, 9 on the grid. Well, this is going to be a very, very entertaining sprint and feature as they come back into the support paddock. We are in for an absolute treat. Victor Martins on pole, Bortoleto 2nd, Aron 3rd, Hadjar 4th, Bogdanovic 5th. Wow.
to the outside of the grid there, and that's going to be an issue for him, and it's going to give Bortoleto that option to try to take the lead down towards turn 1 and put cars between him and his championship rival Isaac Hadjar. They're the difference, under a tenth of a second between them.
Isaac Hadjar, under a tenth away from Gabriel Bortoleto's effort. And let's hear what the Frenchman made of it.
We lost one position, unfortunately. It's
I think when Hadjar lets the adrenaline subside, he will be pleased that the car is competitive. Remember, this is a driver who didn't score points in Baku and Monza. He's been competitive in Qatar last time out. He's behind on the grid. He's got a car to fight for this title. But Bortoleto couldn't take pole, but found himself with the advantage over both of his championship rivals. And we're looking at a deep moment into turn 1 for one of the Tridents, and we see it again.
Yeah, it's Mansell finds himself deep, ends up 19th in the session after a creditable start to the year. Unfortunately, teammate following suit in the shape of Max Esterson, who finds himself 20th. And Hadjar then, is this where he didn't quite get the lap together? It's a little bit ponderous through that first apex. Is he wide through the second part? Looked like he was inside to me, but not ideal. And he slaps the steering wheel because he thinks he's not quite nailed it through that sector of the lap.
Hadjar wearing his heart on his sleeve. He is all in for the win this weekend, but it's advantage Bortoleto, who will start his final Formula 2 feature race from the front row. Let's hear from the man who still leads the championship.
too slow in the last corner. So slow, my God. That's a good starting position for the race, mate. You can do well from here. No, thanks for the car.
He wanted the points, didn't he? 400ths away from it, Bortoleto. And he sees that the points are in his grasp. Just that little bit more apex speed could have snatched those hundredths away. And those are points missed. But critically, starts ahead of Hadjar.
Yes, that's all really you can hope for, given it was a tricky session and an unusual final run there. That's not the way that they would normally have brought the tyres in. As we see down into the pit lane, it's a busy pit lane with Formula 2 and F1 Academy down there. And back in the Formula 1 pit lane, the teams are making their way from the pit lane into in formation, as they will. They'll cross the track and they'll go back to the pit lane that's just beyond turn number 8 before you get to the long left-hander. And that is Formula 2 qualifying for 2024. In the books, that's our result, and it's Martins, Bortoleto, Aaron, Hadjar and Beganovic, our top 5. And Beganovic just working so well in Formula 2.
Oh, really impressive from the driver, 6th in the Formula 3 Championship, making his way through to Formula 2 so early in his career. It was brilliant in Qatar, brilliant once more, and plenty to talk about then as they take the old high downforce war rigs back to the Formula 2 pit lane. A couple of infractions on the way in there. Beganovic, unfortunately, will be investigated after the session for failing to follow the race director's instructions. So a bit of tomfoolery around usage of the support pit lane, but he'll have to talk his way out of that one. But otherwise, a brilliant session from him. But it's Victor Martins who takes P1.
He certainly does. Victor Martins ahead of Gabriel Bortoleto. That's the front row for the decider on Sunday. Paul Aaron in 3rd, then it's Isaac Hadjar. Last of the championship contenders in 4th. Beganovic will be investigated, then it's Heine in 6th, then Marty, Reata, Dirksen and Cordial, who complete the top 10. Kimi Antonelli is in that dreaded 11th place. Goethe is in 12th. A strong 13th for Fornaroli as he joins Formula 2. And there's for sure Behrman, Crawford, Browning, Villa-Gomez, Mansell and Esterson. And then Bennett and Shields complete the grid.
Well, my thanks to Alex Nikes there. Well, thanks to all of you watching as well. It is Victor Martins who has pole for the last feature of the year. But it's Emile Cordial who'll lead us down to turn 1 in the sprint race come Saturday. Thanks very much for your company in qualifying. We'll be back in an hour's time, all set to go for free practice 2 for Formula 1. Bye-bye.